The shovel sank into frozen earth with a dull, obedient sound. Each thrust felt measured. Professional. I didn't cry. The cemetery was empty, no relatives, no condolences, no awkward hands on my shoulder. Just wind and soil and a small coffin that weighed less than the guilt sitting in my chest. My phone vibrated in my coat pocket. Once. Twice. I ignored it. 9 years old. That was all the time I was given. When the final clump of dirt fell, I pressed my palm against the fresh grave. It was still warm from my hands. I whispered goodbye, not because I believed he could hear me, but because silence felt like betrayal too. That's when the phone rang again. I answered. Laughter spilled through the speaker. Glass clinking. Music low and expensive. My wife's voice floated in, light and careless. Cheers, she said. Not to me. To someone else. A man laughed in the background. A voice I recognized. Her ex-lover. The one she said was ancient history. She hadn't realized she called me. Or maybe she didn't care. Finally free, she said. No baggage. I looked down at the grave. My son's grave. The call disconnected. I didn't scream. I didn't drop the phone. I smiled. Because in that moment, I understood something very clearly. They thought the burial was the end. For me, it was the beginning. That night, I sat alone in the house we once called a family home. My son's room was untouched. Toy soldiers frozen mid-battle. A school bag still hanging from the chair. She didn't come home. No text. No excuse. I replayed the call in my head. Not the words. The tone. Relief. Celebration. Like a prisoner tasting air after release. No baggage. She meant him. She meant us. I poured myself a drink and opened her laptop. She'd never bothered to change the password. She trusted familiarity more than loyalty. Emails bloomed across the screen like rot. Flight confirmations. Zurich. Geneva. Swiss banks. Spreadsheets with my company's financial architecture files only 2 people should have had access to. Me. And her. Then I saw his name. The ex-lover. Silent partner. Consultant. Beneficiary. They weren't running away together. They were repositioning. I scrolled calmly. Slowly, like a surgeon. A message dated 3 days after my son's diagnosis. Once the distraction is gone, we move fast. Another, he won't notice. He's drowning. I closed the laptop and stared at the dark reflection of myself in the screen. They hadn't just waited for my son to die. They had planned around it. And suddenly, everything made sense. The sudden coldness, the absence at the hospital, the way she avoided his room like it accused her. Grief hadn't broken my marriage. Greed had. I didn't confront her. That would have been emotional. Messy. Instead, I observed. I watched her return the next morning, smelling of champagne and confidence. She kissed my cheek like muscle memory. Asked if I'd eaten. I said yes. I hired a forensic accountant and told him I was preparing for hostile acquisition. He smiled. Professionals always smile when they smell blood. Phone records came next. Burner numbers. Late night calls. Hotels booked under aliases. I moved funds quietly. Redirected assets into shell trusts I'd established years ago for tax efficiency. She'd signed off on them without reading. I let her believe the company was vulnerable. I let him believe he was winning. At night, I sat in my son's room and let the storm rage silently inside me. Rage so sharp it felt clean. This wasn't about revenge. It was about correction. One evening, my daughter-in-law called. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes," she shouted, half laughing. I looked at the plane ticket on my phone. Switzerland? One way. Enjoy, I replied. I hung up before she could respond. The DNA results arrived 2 days later. I already knew. But knowledge is different from confirmation. I sat across from my wife at the kitchen table and slid the envelope toward her. She frowned, confused. Opened it. Her face collapsed inward. Our son wasn't mine. Her hands shook. Tears spilled. Apologies rushed out like vomit. I listened quietly. When she finished, I asked one question. Did he know? She nodded. That was enough. I stood, took my coat, and paused. By the way, I said softly, the accounts are frozen. The board meeting is tomorrow. And your lover just lost everything. She screamed my name. I didn't turn around. The boardroom was silent when I walked in. Screens lit up with documents. Evidence. Timelines. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Her ex-lover tried to interrupt. I let him speak. Let him incriminate himself. Then I played the recordings. When security escorted him out, he was crying. My wife called me 71 times that night. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent one photo. A villa. White stone. Lake view. Switzerland. No caption. I stand on the balcony now, mountains cutting the sky clean in half. The air here is thin. Honest. I think about my son. About the man I thought I was. I don't feel forgiveness. I don't feel hate. Only clarity. Some people bury children. Others bury themselves. I chose to walk away, and that will haunt them longer than any grave ever could.